Welcome back. Now let's review activities at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where Channel's business editor Bilson Omofaye has been monitoring the launch of the Association of Securities Exchange of Nigeria. Oh, Bilson, there's been a major event today at the NSE, which of course is the launch of the Association of Securities Exchanges of Nigeria. Tell us more and how much that is moving the markets right now.
Well, this is one very big story. Of course, this is the first time, this is the first time anywhere in the world where you have an association of securities exchanges come together to form a single body with the aim to cooperate, to collaborate, and make sure that the market moves forward. And in terms of deepening the market, in terms of whether there is new listings, in terms of regulation, in terms of membership control, in terms of making sure that the market is better transparent and better organized and better arranged for the benefit of not just investors, but the entire Nigerian economy. So it's a big story. You find the FX Commodities Exchanges Limited, that is a commodity exchange, a private-owned company. You have the Nigerian Commodity Exchange, which is based in Abuja, of course, which was formed around 1994, a little bit moribund, but of course it's still there, registered by the SEC. Of course, you have the NSE over-the-counter, which is the unlisted securities market, the FMDQ, which is the home for FX, treasury bills, bonds and derivatives, and of course the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where we are. So these 5 securities exchanges already registered and licensed by the SEC are the ones now moving forward to form this association with a view to set standard and be sure that the market is a lot better. Oscar Onyema, the head of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, talked about the need for cooperation, competition for cooperation, and collaboration among members. But you find quite a lot of folks who make a very important a comment here today, deliver some goodwill messages, special remarks. The acting director general of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mary Odo, talk about keeping the competition healthy among these 5 securities exchanges. He says the market will benefit from this partnership and they should make sure there's what you call a peaceful coexistence. That was how she put it. Then you find the director general of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, spoke also to today's event, and she spoke on the need for this partnership of unity to continue. On the side of the legislative, or what you call the legislative arm of the government, the honorable in charge of the capital markets at the House of Reps, Yusuf Tajudeen, was also here, and he spoke on the need for the market to continue to cooperate. He says power of unity cannot be overemphasized. He says the political class may likely take their eyes off the ball, but the market is incumbent on the market to make sure that the politicians keep their eyes on the ball and make sure that they keep the National Assembly on the tools for necessary legislations that will move the market forward and deepen the market. We also heard from the president of the Stock Exchange, Abimbola Ogunbanjo, who spoke on the need for these exchanges to work together and make sure that they settle whatever differences they have on an amicable basis among members, rather than taking this up to the SEC or to the judiciary or whatever it is. So it's a very important event. We capture all of this for you, and you see that in our subsequent news bulletin. But if you look at the market trading today, we're counting down to closing at about 2:30 local time. We've got 2 numbers today from Cornerstone Insurance reporting. This is one of the late filings, full year 2017, first quarter, second quarter, and half year. You can see this very small cap insurer reporting its numbers to the market. Then you find another company also reporting today. These are very small cap companies whose numbers may reflect a little bit in their share price, but the big banks, as we spoke about, GT Bank, Access, we are yet to have the numbers, including UBA. We're yet to have their quarterly and half-year numbers as far as the market is for this day. This is the 3rd trading day. The market is a little bit stuffed just before closing, about 0.05% on the composite index. In terms of total transactions, still a little bit less than 100 million. But don't forget, the final hour before the closing bell, that's when the market really moved on the upside in many cases. Yesterday, we saw that less than 100 million at about this time, just before the closing. You find the market move up north of 200 million on the 2nd trading day. Today, we see something close to that. In Naira value, we're doing close to $500 million Naira as we speak. About a few minutes ago, 528 million Naira is the net value of all the shares traded so far today. In less than 2,000 transactions, 1,804. So the market is getting a bit of its revving back, but whether we'll finish today in the green or in the red remains to be seen. But the composite index is soft as I said, 0.03%. Because all the major indices, the 5 major indices, the indicators, consumer goods, industrial goods, insurance, banking, and oil and gas are in negative territory as I speak. Bisi, back to you.
Channel Business Editor Bosin Omofaye, thanks for dissecting the numbers coming from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And Morocco has agreed to accept imports of American poultry products for the first time, estimating initial annual shipments at about $10 million. The U.S. Trade Representative's Office and the U.S. Department of Agriculture confirms that the agreement reverses Morocco's previous ban on U.S. poultry that was based on food safety concerns, despite a free trade agreement between the two countries. The United States is the world's second largest poultry exporter after Brazil, with global sales of poultry meat and products of $4.3 billion last year. Well, let's take a few earnings reports now. Africa's biggest mobile operator, MTN Group, has reported a 7% decline in its first half-year profit for 2018. The telco giant attributes the loss to a lower contribution from associates and joint ventures. Headline earnings per share came in at 215 cents in the 6 months through June, compared with 231 cents a year earlier. MTN says the results were negatively affected by a hefty 66% drop to 197 billion rand in contributions, mainly from its joint venture in Iran, and a widening loss in its e-commerce joint venture, Africa Internet Holdings. Meanwhile, the group says it's sticking to its 2018 dividend target despite new U.S. sanctions making it harder to repatriate cash from its Iran joint venture. Meanwhile, South African paper and plastics packaging maker Impact declared a 13% fall in half-year earnings. This comes in the face of challenging trading and market conditions. The company reported headline earnings per share of 29.7 cents versus 34.3 cents in 2017. And in Uganda, Stanbic Bank, owned by South Africa's Standard Bank Group, said it's reporting a 4% increase in its half-year profit before tax, boosted by higher non-interest income. Uganda's largest financial institution by assets says it earned 133 billion shillings, which is $36 million, compared to 128.5 billion shillings for the first half of 2017. The lender attributes the slight uptake in profits to growth in non-interest revenues, supported by growth in customer transactions. Earnings from fees and commissions were up at 71.7 billion shillings from 66.4 billion. And that's it on today's program. Thank you for watching. I am Bisi Adebayo.